Picking up on Fox Local San Francisco, headed by our Greg Lee today. Here we have Congressman Eric Swalwell. He is speaking about a family from Hayward that was recently deported to Colombia. He's joining the effort to bring them back. We'll listen in together.
And it just reflects who we are in this diverse, vibrant, strong community. My question this morning is, what did they do wrong? What was the sin? Ms. Gutierrez, a mother from my district in Hayward, went to a routine immigration check. Routine. She wasn't hiding. She hadn't done anything wrong. Was doing everything we'd ever asked of her. Because she believed, mistakenly, tragically, in the covenant of the routine. But then she was snatched up with her 2 children, ages 4 and 6. And deported. The 6-year-old Joseph is deaf and was not even allowed to bring with him the medical devices that he needs to hear and to communicate. Think about that for a moment. A 6-year-old child with a disability, suddenly in a different country, separated from the country he has come to know, and now surrounded by silence. The horror stories from this White House continue. From ICE, they continue, and they continue to stagger. They have also deported a 6-year-old child, U.S. citizen, battling stage 4 cancer. They promised that they would deport violent criminals. Now they are deporting kids with disabilities. Last week, I asked Secretary Kristi Noem, former Secretary Kristi Noem, directly about these inhumane deportation policies. She dodged those questions. The reason? Because no sane human, no beating heart would allow this to go on. And yet, it does. We can no longer say we're deeply disturbed by what's happening. We are outraged, because this is outrageous, and it must not be allowed to stand or continue. I want to give you an update on Joseph. As we stand here, my staff has just landed in Colombia and is placing the hearing devices back in the boy's ear. He was able to do that with the help of the community who rallied to get his devices and personal belongings. So I thank my staff and I thank the community for coming together. We are also working with the Families Council on returning the family back to the United States under what's called humanitarian parole, so he can return to his school for the deaf, which is where he belongs. To the child, we have returned his sound, but to our nation, what has happened to our soul? We are looking at what next steps we can take in Congress to ensure that this will not happen again. We are working with Senators Padilla and Schiff and the chair of the California delegation, Zoe Lofgren, who's also on the Immigration Subcommittee. But let's be clear. If you want to deport a cartel boss, everyone here will help you pack their bags. But if you're coming for a 6-year-old, you have to go through us. We will not stand by while ICE tears our families apart and endangers innocent children. What happened here was not about public safety. How does ruining the life of a 6-year-old deaf child make our community or our country any safer? It doesn't. It makes the country darker. Ronald Reagan, a man of California, spoke of a light unto the nations, of a city on a hill. But what we're building now is a dungeon. We're extinguishing the lamps one by one until the only thing left in the dark is our cruelty. Let us return innocent families to their homes, children to their schools, and some light to this land. Again, I thank the community for rallying together. I thank my staff and our leaders, and would welcome anyone else in the community to speak if they'd like to step up and make some remarks. George?
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is George Syrup. I have the honor and privilege of serving as a council member and the mayor pro tem for the city of Hayward. I'd like to thank Congressman Swalwell's office for calling this press conference this morning and for his responsiveness to our constituents' needs. I'll keep my comments brief. One of our neighbors was kidnapped It doesn't matter what country someone is from, when a government is kidnapping children and denying them medical care, that to me is an act of domestic terrorism, and it must be stopped. And to add insult to injury, we the people are paying for this cruelty. While cities face deficits, while schools face closures, our federal government is pouring billions into arming and equipping the apparatus that kidnapped this small child and separated them from their family. It must be stopped. It is time that we are clear about our demands to federal government. It is time that we defund ICE to prevent anything like this from ever happening again to any of our residents. We are working closely with our partners in Congressman Swallow's office. We are grateful for the work of Supervisor Marquez's office and Central Legal for supporting rapid response efforts across the county. This is happening everywhere, not just in Hayward, and it can be happening in your own backyard. And so my call is not just for our federal representatives to step up and ensure that this agency does not receive another penny, but also for our neighbors and our residents to understand that you too play a role in keeping our neighbors safe. Attend a Know Your Rights workshop. Get to know your neighbors. Learn the lessons of Minneapolis and rise up together. We keep us safe. We protect one another. And it's up to all of us to make sure that not another child is taken from our communities. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elisa Marquez, and I represent District 2 on the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. And this is a very painful morning. Many of the students that attend the school that Death in Fremont are our constituents, our collective constituents. They just don't live in Fremont. People move to this area to get that education and that type of support. So the fact that this young boy did not have his assistive device is unacceptable. So I want to thank our congressman and his team. That is true leadership, actually flying to Colombia to make sure this young child has his medical needs met. And to his mother, I just want to reassure her that everyone standing here, including Centro Legal, I want to thank Nico for your fierce leadership. We're going to be relentless. We're going to do everything in our power. That's why we've invested over $7.5 million from Alameda County funds to ensure that families such as Leslie Rodriguez Gutierrez can get this legal support. And we're not going to stop. This is unacceptable, and we can't allow it to continue to happen. We will not live in fear or panic. We're going to be united together until Leslie and her boys return home back to Hayward, where they belong, where every immigrant and refugee that chooses to live here that is not a criminal deserves to be here. Thank you.
The Cermeño family just married into the Colombian family, so we have family in Colombia that should not be there. Those youngsters should be here. That Mrs. Rodriguez should be here with us in the city of Hayward. And to be just plucked off the street in San Francisco, that's just not right. Not right at all. I am very pissed. I am very upset that these youngsters, these 2, 4, and 6-year-olds, unfortunately, one is disabled, and that's not the right profile, I guess, for our leaders in Washington, D.C. That's not right. Perhaps they're not the right color either, and that's very wrong. I'm very upset, and I'm happy that everybody here is joining up. I'm happy that all of you are here, and let's tell the whole world, the whole United States, that we cannot put up with this any longer. We have to stop it. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks. Also joined by Hayward City Councilwoman Julie Roche. Thank you also for joining us.
Ray Bonilla.
Oh, sorry.
Ray.
Oh, Ray Bonilla, also here. You're welcome to come up.
But he's shy.
Yeah. Jeez. Did you want to say anything, Ray? You sure? Any questions? Yes, sir.
Do you have any confidence the new head of DHS will do anything different?
No. This is about a policy at the top, run by Stephen Miller, and Donald Trump also has sanctioned every single one of these policies. The cruelty of sending roving terror into our communities, masked agents, no identification, unmarked cars, no warrants before going into homes, pulling women by their hair, putting them in these vans, chasing people through the fields and factories where they work. This is intentional, and that's why it cannot be funded. And I appreciate the council member referencing the funding. We are in day 26 of the DHS shutdown, and I will not vote to give them a penny, and I think Democrats are united until the roving band of terror, these mass thugs, until they stop terrorizing our community. And after doing this to the Gutierrez family, as particularly to a 6-year-old deaf boy named Joseph, how could you justify that you are worthy of another dollar?
So
Yes.
You mentioned that you're working to provide them humanitarian parole.
Yeah.
How difficult is this going to be, and what's the process?
You know, we're clear-eyed about how difficult this is going to be and how cruel this administration is. And if you listen to Nico, they intentionally denied Nico and his colleagues access to their clients. And this is a shell game that they're playing all over the country, where they make it really hard for you to bring a case, to get to a judge, so that way they can accelerate and expedite the deportation, and the families are out of the country before a judge even has the ability to make a decision. We saw this with Miguel Lopez in Livermore, where a judge told the administration, do not send him to Mexico. They did it anyway. We saw this with Abrego Garcia, same case, do not send him to El Salvador. They did it anyway. So we will not relent. I know that my Democratic colleagues in the Democratic caucus are very moved by this. I've talked to many of them in the leadership about this, and I'm working with Senators Padilla and Schiff on a letter that would collectively ask for this humanitarian parole. One other piece that we can pursue, and we did this with Miguel Lopez, is what's called a private bill. You can make somebody a citizen through an act of Congress. It has happened. And this family is certainly worthy, considering the terror that they fled in their country and the need that they had here, and that they were following all the rules here in the United States. So we are also looking at introducing that, as quickly as possible. And we will get through the darkness of these times, and we will be in a Democratic majority quite soon. And in that majority, we will have the opportunity, to take these what we call private bills and start to make many of these wrongs right. Anyone else? Yes.
You said your office, members of your office landed in Colombia. Can you clarify the timeline when they got there? Do you have confirmation that they've gotten Joseph the release already?
Yes, and I'm going to be a little bit careful because she fled Colombia for a reason, and so we want to be mindful of that and protect the family. But our number one priority was to get Joseph his assistive devices. And so working with Nico and working with community groups who came together, we were able to gather those devices and flew yesterday to Colombia. And as I said, right now, our staffer is landing and meeting the family to put those devices in Joseph's ears as soon as possible. And I'll update you when we can confirm that has happened. And I don't know if, Nico, if you have any more color or texture to that timeline. But we're just trying to be mindful of her safety and not going into too much detail there.
I think you
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.